Hi, this is Dr. Scott, and today we're going to talk a little bit about NATO, the spending and the world pushback here. I think there's going to be some really interesting things that come of this. And if you might have watched one of the episodes more recently, we talked about Doge. And on the Doge site, you can go to doge.gov and you can do /spend, and you get to see. Oops, sorry, I'm using the wrong side there. You can see the difference between 2019 and 2024, and you can see how much more they're spending on an overall basis. What, $2.3 trillion extra spending? I mean, and the answer is you don't have any. I mean, you have what, 1.5 trillion more that you are gaining in assets, but you have $2.3 trillion, which is an $800 billion difference, right? So Trump came out with a statement the other day and said, we're not going to spend on NATO. So this is something I looked up here, and this is what NATO is. The spend comes from 70 freaking percent is done by America. But look, the NATO nations, the ones that are affected, are in, of course, Europe. Now, post World War II, we wanted it. Now, we don't know the full-on cabal reason with that too. But look at this. I mean, Germany, a big economy, UK, the 5%. No one's even above that. Canada's kind of an interesting high percentage comparatively, but why isn't Poland jumping in, or Spain, or Turkey, right? I mean, why is Canada that huge of a number? And then America does this. The total spend, and I looked it up here, is $4.7 billion. So America, America gives 3.76, the total spend is 4.7 billion. Our spend of this 70% is 3.76 billion. Well, that's just easy to lop right off the end, right? I mean, it's a big number, but a very huge number in capabilities for that stuff too. And then guess what? Then we had the EU saying this.
In the various meetings in the last few weeks, most recently 2 days ago in London, the answer from European capitals has been as resounding as it is clear. We are in an era of rearmament, and Europe is ready to massively boost its defense spending, both to respond to the short-term urgency to act and to support Ukraine, but also to address the long-term need to take on more responsibility for our own European security. And this is why today I have written a letter to the leaders ahead of Thursday's European Council. This is why we are here together today. I have outlined in this letter to the leaders the Rearm Europe plan. This set of proposals focuses on how to use all the financial levers at our disposal in order to help member states to quickly and significantly increase expenditures in defense capabilities, urgently now, but also over a longer period of time over this decade.
So, I mean, I'm trying to bring up here something. I wanted to show you this, but it's funny that they did this. I want to show you this. I'm going to bring this on the other side of the screen here. So I want you to see this hysterical map. And this gives you kind of an idea of how silliness how much silliness they actually operate within. So when you look at, let me do that a little bit bigger here. So look at Texas as a function in size of these different nations. Now, if you move that thing around, it might make more sense, right? You've shoved it over here a little bit. You might get in some of those areas, but frankly, the last I heard, I think Texas would be, if it was a nation, would be like the 5th biggest economy in the world. I mean, it could be seventh. It doesn't really matter, but it blows past these guys. And if the situation is, well, wait a second, so Europe isn't even spending the giant portion. I had no idea this number. I'm looking at this going, I don't really care. And so what I would say to you here is this. We are seeing some craziness that's kind of coming out. And every time Doge or Trump pulls back from some of these silly things like the Paris Climate Accord or NATO kind of stuff and says, we're just not going to give you any more money, or who, they start freaking out. Who is the they? It's the cabal. And when they talk about upping their ante, in essence, it's going to take them forever to do. They can't possibly come up with the size and capabilities of their armies to really do anything. But here's what I also kind of see this. Every time he pushes in a little bit further, the cabal pushes their chips in just a little bit more. So I got to tell you guys, don't be worried about it too much. Realize we got to come to the point of an EBS. And today is Friday the 7th, and you're going to be seeing this next week here. But on tomorrow, actually, I'm going to have Patriot Underground on the channel, and he's going to talk to you a lot about the EBS and why it's needed. We were talking about this on the side after a broadcast that I did with him. But I'm going to tell you guys, it isn't just Nasara. We need to have an EBS. And the closer and closer we get to it, we see these little pieces start moving in position. So Trump says, I'm not going to give you any money. And then they respond with, well, we're going to build up our forces. My response is, go ahead. And I think that's coming. And that's a good thing, guys. Don't get too scared about that stuff. The militaries of the world, the real good militaries, where Trump had said at one point in time he had 800 generals under him. Well, there's not even that many generals in America. He was talking about the world and the white hats of the world. These people have nothing left. And what they have left is not as much as you think they do. And so I think, we're coming closer and closer. I just want to give you that little piece of news. Thanks so much for listening.